Welcome to Dead Good Book Reviews, I'm Judith and today I'm bringing you my February TBR. So January was a really good reading month, if you don't already know, or if you haven't watched my wrap-up video. I think that will be going out first. Who knows? I read 19 books in January, which was really good. I'm happy about that. February is a shorter month, but it's also a month that I feel like I can achieve things in. Because it's my birthday month and I just feel like I get a burst of energy, maybe. I'm probably shooting myself in the foot right now. Anyway, I've been trying to set 17 book TBRs because that's the amount I need to read to meet my Goodreads goal, but there are so many books coming out in February and March, and also I have some books that I hold that are actually January titles or early February titles that I should have already read. It's just a bit of a mess, so we have a 20 book TBR. I think we can do it. Let's hope so. Right, let's go. I have my laptop here to check things about books that I don't already know about because I've not filmed my book haul yet, and that's when I usually learn what my books are about. First up, I have The Unspoken Name by K.A. Larkwood. This is coming out from Tor on the 20th of February, so I need to get to reading this. So this is the first book in a duology. I'm a bit nervous going into this. I've had some friends read it who really haven't had a good time. I know at least one person who's DNF'd it and another person who just said it was a real slog to get through. So maybe I'll have to put this earlier in the month while I still have a brain. But yeah, this book is sounding really good on paper. It's about a death cult, a girl who has to escape the death cult, unlearning things she's already learned, stuff I really enjoy in fiction, but I'm a bit nervous going into this, so maybe I'll end up DNFing this, I don't know. Next, I have The Wolf's Call by Anthony Ryan. This comes out from Orbit on the 20th of February. This book is one of those, I've described it in, I think it was my haul from last month. It's one of those like, I will never fight again. Oh wait, a woman is in trouble, I will fight again kind of books, which is what I think it's going to be. This is another one that I'm going in with like a maybe I will DNF this kind of feeling. I'm trying to not get bogged down in books that I don't enjoy, and a lot of the time, especially with review copies, you find yourself pushing yourself through books, sending yourself into a reading slump, and then you're like, well, was that worth it for this man fantasy boringness? No. So we'll see. But I'm going in with like a fraction of an open mind. Maybe we'll see. Next I have a book I'm very excited about. This is The Midnight Lie by Marie Rutkowski. This is coming out from Hodder and Stoughton on the 3rd of March, so I've got a bit more time to work on this one. This is an LGBTQ romantic fantasy, which I'm very excited about. I've seen some beautiful editions of this book places. I just think it's going to be right up my alley. I'm looking forward to reading this one. Next I have There Will Come a Darkness by Katie Rose Poole. This comes out from Orbit on the 5th of March. This is Katie Rose Poole's fantasy debut, which is always a little bit interesting. I quite like finding new authors. I like supporting debuts, so we'll see how that goes. By the looks of it, this is a multiple POV kind of story, which I do really enjoy, and it has all these different people, lots of different stories, and there's like a secret prophecy, which, you know, I'm all here for. So that one will be really interesting. Next is one that I don't know if I have as a mistake. It was up on NetGalley as Read Now from Sourcebooks and they normally don't approve people in the UK, so who knows? But this is Wicked As You Wish by Rinchi Peko. This is out from Sourcebooks on the 3rd of March, so as you can see I'm trying to get my March reading in. I don't really know much about this book, to be honest. Let's have a explore together. So this is book 1 in the 100 Names for Magic series, duology, I don't know. Yeah, there's a Snow Queen, there's evil magic, there's good magic. I'm looking forward to reading this one. The next book is a bit of a wild card in this TBR. As you'll know, I primarily read sci-fi and fantasy. I very rarely step outside those genres, but on occasion I do, and usually it's a good time. I have The Other Bennett Sister by Janice Hadlow. This is out from Pan Macmillan already. This came out on the 9th of January, but I have a review copy that they approved me for very late in January, so I don't feel bad about leaving it till potentially the end of Feb. This book is about Mary from Pride and Prejudice, which if you haven't read Pride and Prejudice, she's essentially like Elizabeth's annoying younger sister, but not the like fun annoying pretty one. She's like the one who everyone thinks is miserable. She looks like this in the film adaptation, and I've always felt a kinship with her, as I've always felt like the weird frumpy one who just wants to talk about weird things when other people are around. So I genuinely don't know if this is going to be any good. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it, but I really want a book that gives me Mary Bennet well, and this felt like it would be a good fit. I genuinely don't know. We'll have to find out in my February wrap-up. We are on to physical arcs. I have a lot of these. I got sent a lot of physical arcs, which again, when is my haul going up? Is it before or after this? If I had a schedule, I would know. But yes, I got sent a lot of arcs, but this one I've had for a while. This is Ink in the Blood by Kim Schmeckel. Schmeckel. This book I picked up at Yalp. It was on one of the stands where if you bought 2 books you could get an arc. It was like an arc for a book kind of thing. This is a lush dark YA fantasy debut that weaves together tattoo magic, faith and eccentric theatre in a world where lies are currency and ink is a weapon. I'm really interested in this. I want it to be what I wanted Ink to Be by Alice Broadway, which started off as like a really good book, interesting, and then completely abandoned everything that was about tattooing and just sort of went into a weird tribal place, which was pretty uncomfortable. So yes, I'm hoping this will be really, really good. This is apparently coming out on February 11th of this year, which, given that I picked it up in July, I really should have read it by now, not 10 days away from when it actually comes out, but you know, what can you do? I'm looking forward to reading this. I'm gonna hopefully get to this very soon. Another book coming out on February the 11th, this time from Titan. This is The Library of the Unwritten by AJ Hackworth. This is a book where every book left unfinished by its author is filed away in the unwritten wing, a neutral space in hell presided over by Claire, its head librarian. Along with repairing and organising books, her job consists of keeping an eye on restless stories whose characters risk materialising and escaping the library. When a hero escapes from his book and goes in search of his author, Claire must track and capture him with the help of former muse and current assistant Brevity and a nervous demon courier Leto. But what should have been a simple retrieval goes horrifyingly wrong in a chase that threatens to reshape the boundaries between heaven, hell and earth. I think this sounds really good, especially having just read and loved The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep, which you can watch my video review of. Yes, I'm really looking forward to this. I am a spooky person at heart, and so anything involving interesting takes on hell, I'm here for. Next up is a book I've already started. I am about 240 pages in to The Stars We Steal by Alexa Dunn. This was another book that I hauled this month. I think it's really, really good. So far it's a retelling of Persuasion apparently, or loosely inspired by Persuasion. I've never read Persuasion, so I can't speak to that. But it's basically one of these you must find a husband in the season books, but in space, and that's basically everything I want at the moment. I just want fluffy, nice, light things. Yeah, I'll have more to say to this in my wrap-up, but yes, I'm having a good time. Next, I have a memory called Empire by Arkady Martin? Arkady Martin? Difficult name pronunciations. This, I know it's been out in hardback for a while. It came out in paperback on January the 23rd, which is why the lovely people at Tor were kind enough to send me a copy. This is kind of a political intrigue book, I think, in space. I'm not really sure. I don't know a huge amount about this. I know Justine really liked it, and that's enough for me to want to read it. So stay tuned for what I think of that one. All right, now we're on to books that I own. My owned TBR continues to be a source of great pain and suffering, and I know it's going to get worse this month because it's my birthday month. It's my birthday tomorrow when I'm filming this, and I know that I'm going to buy books and everything's going to be great. But, oh, I didn't talk about Bone Cries Moon, whoops. Before that, Bone Cries Moon, this is from Harbour 360 YA. This is out, when is this out? Why don't I remember anything ever? This is out March 10th, so we've got a bit of a long lead time on this one. This is by Catherine Purdy. This is ferrying spirits of the dead into the afterlife. I think it might remind me a bit of Reign of the Fallen, so we'll see how that one goes. I usually find Harbour 360 stuff is a bit of a miss for me, but we'll find out. Now we're on to my own TBR. I have Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This has been on my TBR since it came out. I actually pre-ordered this book and then read about 100 pages of it, and bookmarks done there, 130 pages of it at a train station waiting for a delayed train, and then never picked it up again. It wasn't the right time. I was very, very tired at the time and just wasn't here for it. But my wife has now listened to the audiobook of this and she had a really good time, so I'm thinking I probably ought to prioritise this, and I also ought to read it before the sequel Harry the Ninth comes out at some point this year. So yes, this is very much on my list. There's going to be a lot of necromancy and dead things this month. I'm okay with it. This book I have actually borrowed from my good friend Asha, whose blog I will link below because I'm a good friend. This is the second book in the Mistborn series. This is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. I own the third book, I own the first book, I do not own the second, and I need to read this because I've had her books for probably about 5 months now and definitely need to get to reading them. So this series is about magic, politics, overthrowing the government, if I remember correctly. I read Mistborn quite a while ago, so it'll be interesting seeing whether you can just jump straight into this or whether I need a recap of what happened in the previous book. But yes, looking forward to reading that. Another book that has been sat on my TBR for a while is Crownbreaker by Sebastian de Castiel. This is the last book in the Spellslinger series, which is a series I've just loved from its inception. I only own this one and the fourth one, which I got at a hockey event that he was at, but have read all of them and really, really enjoyed them. And I think I've been putting this off a bit because I kind of don't want to know how the series ends. What if it's a really disappointing ending? But how amazing would it be to have finished a 5-book series? So this is going on my TBR for this month. The last book I'm talking about is Eye of the World, which is the first book in the Wheel of Time series, which I think is a 10 to 12 book series. I can't remember. This is by Robert Jordan. It's a very, very old, very classic fantasy series, and it's another one that Justine has told me I should read. So I'm doing it. I should just name this TBR, like, what Justine says you should read, because honestly, she's not let me down so far. I'm a little bit of the way through this audiobook already, and I really do like it. I think it's good fun. The audio narration is a little bit crackly, just because it's a bit of an old audiobook, which I find a bit difficult because I'm quite sensitive to background noise, but the actual plot is really interesting. It's like a 28-hour audiobook, so hopefully I have the time to listen to it this month. Maybe I'll have to start taking myself on walks to get through it, but I'm going to, and it's going to be a really good time. The only thing left to do is to pick my 5 rereads from this jar. I was going to do February Witchy, which you can participate in. Asha, who I've linked, she's doing a readathon, it's all witch themed, but I don't actually have that many books that fit the criteria for that, so I'm going to pick my 5 books and just hope for the best. And if any of them are witch-based, then that's a win. What I do find is that rereads tend to be quicker than first-time reads because you can kind of keep your brain in gear a bit better. So hopefully these will be nice quick ones. First up, we have Gemina by J. Christopher and Amy Catherine. I have reread this pretty recently, so this should be a very quick read. But yes, second book in the Illuminati Chronicles, if you didn't already know. I love that. I say I want something nice and short. Yes, it's lovely and short. This is Eldest by Christopher Paolini. This is the second book in the Inheritance. I just whacked myself in the face with it. This is the second book in the Inheritance cycle. I do know this book pretty well, and I think I have it on audiobook, which may be a good way to get through some of it. But yes, this is a book I will be attempting to read this month. If this is another huge fantasy, then I may just cry. I will reread this book every month, it would seem. I think I reread this in December. This is Secret the Sirens by Julia Golding. I've talked about this book enough on this channel. You don't need me to tell you anymore. It's really good. It's lovely middle grade. That'll be a nice foil to a 600-page monstrosity. God's Grave by J. Christoph. I think I reread this. Maybe I never reread this. Maybe this is the one I haven't reread. This is the second book in the Nevernight Chronicles? Nevernight trilogy? Anyway, I like this book. I have a quite good run with second books in series, and this is one of them, so this will be really good fun. Last, we have The Hogfather by Terry Pratchett. We have the lovely edition. If I had the money, I would buy every single edition of these like collector's library ones because I just think they're beautiful. Absolutely stunning. But this is the Christmassy one. This is one of my favourites. I absolutely love this book, and if you haven't encountered Terry Pratchett, this is one of the books that I would recommend starting with. I usually recommend going postal or Thud because I love Thud, but this is another really, really good one. So yes, 20 books in February. It's a leap year, so you know, I'll have an extra day to do it in. If you want to follow on with this journey, if you want to see how I do, the best way to do that is to subscribe to this channel where you'll be constantly kept updated as to what I'm doing. You can also follow me on all of my socials, which are linked below, and I will see you in the next one.